Hey guys, let's look at some aviation related tools that would be handy to have in a normal workshop. We're going to start off with some stuff here that's not terribly exotic. We've got left-hand cut, straight cut, right-hand cut, and we've got small right-hand cut and small left-hand cut. Aviation snips, and aviation snips are different from regular tin snips in that they've got this double action thing going on. Here's your first pivot point, which closes that. The double action gives you a little bit more leverage and makes it so you can cut slightly thicker material without ending up with Popeye arms. These smaller ones are handy to get into tighter locations, of course. I'm going to take a small set, not that it makes any difference, the bigs do the same thing as this. When you're cutting with snips, you want to not close them all the way. You want to just bring them down to, about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch from the tip. Because if you bring them down all the way, you can see how you're getting a displacement every time the snips close all the way, and you end up with this rougher edge compared to the edge that you get by stopping before the tips close all the way. It's something that isn't real obvious when you're using snips. It works for these aviation snips as well as working for standard tin snips. In a recent video, we played with the metal shrinker and stretcher, and definitely we can see here the effect that stretching has, and we can see here the effect that shrinking has. We were able to get a good amount of curve put into a what was a standard L, or what was a just a L profile bent in a piece of steel. In aviation, we use what are called fluting pliers, and there's different designs of these. This has a plastic flute on it. You can see that it's going to tighten in on the metal and create a deformation. I've never used these on steel, I've used them on aluminum lots. But you can see that you get essentially the same effect. It's creating a deformation. It's making this point to this point shorter and bending the aluminum or bending the metal. And to make a wing rib, you end up with a flange similar to this. And to shorten the flange, we get a few crimps, and you can see that this is starting to bend around. Next item is a Rivet Fan. The idea being here, you can set as many as you want. Let's go with 8 holes lined up in the flange, even spacing. And then we can come along with our Sharpie. If I can hold everything one-handed here. And now we can drill our evenly spaced holes along that lip. When you're working on aviation, the number of fasteners over a given distance is often an important factor, more so than the specific spacing between the two. So, you can set this for whatever pitch they call it, and works well for laying out a series of holes. Another way that you could do it, I guess, is a piece of elastic with marks at 1 inch, and you just kind of hold it and then stretch it and then mark. But these aren't terribly expensive, and they're handy to have. One thing you don't want to do with these, though, is overextend them. If you do, they jam, and they're really hard to get them to fold back up. This is the smaller one that I have, and hold it a little further. This is the larger, and definitely handy when you're laying out a number of holes. This is steel, and in theory you could just lay this down and drill right through it. I never did, because every time you drill through this, you're going to slightly enlarge those holes, and let's face it, you're going to wear the tool out over time. Whereas if you just use it as a marking point, put a mark at each one of those dots, and then take this away, drill your holes. You're going to have a tool that lasts you essentially forever. This is another handy little tool that I have for doing layouts, and I talked about it briefly in the video where we were working on these sheet metal parts. And I just took and held my my finger up against the edge and used that as a guide to draw a straight line. This is a piece I mentioned in that video that is designed to do the exact same thing. Unfortunately, it only takes the small, like the ultra fine tip Sharpie. There you are, it lays out the perfect line in from the edge of a piece of sheet metal. And the advantage to this, of course, is you're not running your finger along an edge that could be sharp and risking cutting yourself. Unfortunately, these ultra fine point Sharpies don't tend to last as long as the big chubby ones. The next tool in our aviation arsenal that would be handy to have is a flanging stick. And what this essentially is two rollers from a drawer. You know, the drawer slides that you get, and they've just taken two of these. This tool has been well used. I've built wing ribs for 2 airplanes using this tool. Essentially what you do is you take and you put a little bit of pressure, and then you run it down the edge, and then you repeat, and you repeat. And again, we're doing this on steel here, so it is not going as well as it does on aluminum, but you can start to see, I don't know how well that's showing up, but we're getting a lip bent up on this. And in certain applications in aviation, or certain applications where you want a little bit of a stiffening lip on the edge of your piece, something like this is a handy tool to have. I've got a few different styles of this. There's this one, there's one that I made. It's just a piece of maple that has a couple of ball bearings on it. And I don't find it works quite as well as this one with the nylon drawer slides. Another one that I have is a modified pair of vice grips that also does the same sort of thing. And it might work better in certain applications, but I found this is the best one that I've been able to find. Calling this an aviation-only tool is a little bit of a stretch. This particular one is designed for aviation use. It's got a smooth jaw in there, so it's not going to mar up aluminum. But when you're modifying a flange, you're going to bend it just a little bit, just a little bit tighter. That's how that is used. There are versions available. They tend to have like a serrated teeth in here that the heating and air conditioning industry uses for doing ductwork. But these aviation ones work very well with the smooth jaw. They don't chew things up. Next item on our aviation tool list is going to be a drill stop. We've got this piece that clamps onto a drill, and it has a Allen screw. There's one here. And it's a spring. It's got a very narrow tip on it, kind of comes down to the flutes of the drill bit. And the reason that you do that is when you're punching through sheet metal, the drill bit has a tendency to bury itself because you're pushing, 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 and then it slips. And especially on aluminum, you can get down onto this chuck, and it tends to leave, you know, a mark on the aluminum that's about the same size diameter as the back end of that rivet stop, whereas the contact point is essentially nothing at this end. And we'll drill a hole here. And you see how when it breaks through, it tends to bottom out against that drill stop. Therefore, we don't leave a big mark on the sheet metal. Same size drill bit without the drill stop on it, and I didn't try to stop it. I let it do it, but you can see how we've got this circle here. How well that shows up. You can see how we got this circle all the way around, and in certain applications, you don't want that circle to be there. Drill stops, handy thing to have. Now that we've got a couple holes drilled, you can see here that we've got a couple of nasty burrs sticking out where the drill bit came through. And we've got Swivel Deburring Tool. This is my nice fancy new one, strictly for doing aluminum. I don't want to use it on this. But here's one that's well used. It doesn't bother me to use this on steel. And likewise, this is actually a wood countersinking tool that is designed for carpentry and also works well as a deburring tool. These are available inexpensively from the hardware stores. Take the swivel deburring tool, go around, and no more burr. You can still see that burr there. And no more burr. I can run my finger over those and not draw blood. Finish wise, it's nice to have no burr to deal with on the outside of that. But when you're working in aviation, of course, you're trying to put two panels together, and having a big burr keeps the parts from being clamped together. So instead of having all of this contact area, you would just have two sharp points where the burr was. Now, one thing you want to be careful of when you're using these deburring tools is, as you can see, there's a good taper there. And as you're grinding into it, if you cut too far beyond just the surface of the hole, you can actually end up with a conical hole. And if you do that from both sides, instead of being the nominal thickness of the metal, now you're down to essentially, you know, a razor sharp point, and there's not a lot of strength there. So your fastener doesn't have as much to grab onto. The next item that I want to show is a Klecos. Klecos is a temporary fastener in that you can see these two barbs that come out, and they see how they come together, and it then allows you to align the two holes, go through, and as it comes back, you see this center tab, and you'll notice how those two barbs spread out, and then the spring pulls them back so they're tight against the body. Line those up underneath. Stick the Klecos through, let go, and now you can see that we are joined up, and that allows us to and I don't have another black Klecos handy, but we can put a second Klecos in that. Klecos are color coded. We've got 3 of the 4 common ones here. We've got our silver is our smallest. That's a number 40 drill bit or a 3/32. Copper is number 30 or 1/8 inch. And black is 5/32 or number 21. A gold is a number 12 or a 3/16. In my stash of aviation parts, I've probably got, I use old cookie tins that are full to the brim with Klecos. When you're assembling an aircraft, you put as much of the subassembly together using these temporary fasteners to line everything up and get it ready before you do your final assembly with rivets. So, and as you rivet, you slowly remove the Klecos. Before we continue on, I'd like to remind everybody, give me one of those thumb up things if you got this far in the video. And there's some merch, coffee cups, shirts, hats, that kind of thing, in links down below the video. Next aviation item that would be handy to have is plexiglass drills. Unfortunately, I don't have a piece of plexiglass here that we can try, at least not one that I want any holes in. What these are is a drill bit that has a far sharper tip on it. Here's a similar size drill bit, conventional. You can see the difference in the tip. And the idea being is that this goes through the plexiglass much faster. When you're cutting through plexiglass with this thing, run it fast as you can. High speed. If you go slow, they tend to crack out plexiglass. The other thing when you're drilling holes in plexiglass is to do so when it is as warm as possible. Definitely 20 Celsius, 70 Fahrenheit. You know, give it 22, whatever the exact conversion is. But definitely that's your normal room temperature is about as cold as you want to be working with Plexi. Any colder than that, and Plexi tends to get a little more brittle. It's harder to work with, and definitely want to get it warm before you try drilling any holes in it or cutting it. Stainless steel Lockwire is a handy thing to have. This is a spool that you buy, I guess you buy it by the pound, and these are Lockwire pliers. And the idea here is, unfortunately it's kind of hard to demonstrate, but you're going to put this through the head of a fastener, and then you're going to anchor it to something, and you're going to anchor it in such a way that in order to unwind, to loosen itself, so standard threads, you know, your counterclockwise rotation, you're going to be locking it in the clockwise rotation. We'll just take the shaft of this tool, we take our Lockwire pliers and clamp the Lockwire in there, we slide this barrel back, and then we just pull. When you're done, squeeze, the lock slides forward, we come in here and then we bend the pigtail in so that there's not a sharp end to poke your finger on. The final aviation tool that we're going to look at today that would be handy to have in the everyday shop is an oil filter cutter. Now, it's a good idea to, you know, on higher performance applications, to cut your oil filter apart and see what kind of condition they are on the inside. And but if you use a grinder, you're going to be creating a bunch of grindies, a bunch of grindings that are going to end up in the filter as you're cutting through. Hacksaw, same thing. But what we have here is an oil filter cutter, and essentially what it is the wheel of a pipe cutter that is here, and then we can set our distance. Hopefully this thing is big enough. So there we are. Just tighten this wheel up. And then we spin our oil filter around, and you can see that we are starting to get a line right here. A little too tight. Now we're able to pull it apart. And if you've ever wondered what the inside of an oil filter looks like, I believe this is a Honda oil filter off of a, well, I think they would use them in a Honda Civic or Accord or that sort of thing. Specifically, I believe these are off of a Honda personal watercraft, but because the person that gave it to me happens to own two. So anyways, what you do here is you then pull your pleats apart, and you can look down in and you can see there are some shinies in there. I don't know how well this is going to work for you guys. But I can definitely see a few specks of shiny metal. Something shiny there, something shiny there. So as you can see, it's a good idea to check your oil filters. I'm going to have to let my buddy know that he's got a little bit of metal in his oil filter. That's all I have for the aviation tools that would be handy to have in any workshop. And if you got this far, remember, one of those thumb up things helps YouTube push my videos out to more people. And maybe if you want to see more content from Doug's Messy Garage, consider hitting that subscribe button, maybe ringing that bell icon so you get notified. And we'll catch you guys in the next mess. Thanks for watching.